is what are the decimal points I need to have so I can compare everything with the decimal points. What do I have? I have a problem. And the problem I have is, what do I produce? Motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, as many motors as I can. And what do I want you to be able to do? I want you to be able to know more from whatever is given to you. Do I know more than whatever is given to you? Yeah. If I can go and sum things up. If I sum things up, I know how much time each one of the models would give me. And then I can be able to compare them. How I will compare them? By subtracting or by dividing. And if I subtract, I know how much more time is one from the other. If I divide, I will know what is the relationship. What do I see? Motor 3 is a little bit less time intensive to be produced than motor A, but motor B is the most easy to produce in terms of time. I can put more motors. Why do I know that? Because if I hire Jerry to make it, and Jerry works in all different areas because he is multi-talented, within 6 hours he's going to make one of motor 8 and a little bit more that he needs to continue next day. For motor B, he can make 2 motors in a day. For motor C, he would make 1 motor in a day. And Robert wants to organize the labor in all these cases. But if Jerry is working only in one operation, and we need Gary for the second and Marie in the third, because different people do wiring, drilling, and assembly. And you may have to pay them different rates. Then it is extremely important to know how to allocate your resources. By knowing these numbers here, do you have enough information to think about how to allocate resources? And that is what I care for. If I move further up, I can see what are the total numbers. And these total numbers, as I see here, are coming from a relationship. I would suggest what you actually need to do is, if for whatever you have, the total hours that you need, before that, to insert a row and everything that you use to have it earlier on, in such a way that if I want to see how this number is calculated, that number is calculated based upon everything that you see here. And I want that to make sense. So what is this? This is the total hours that I need to produce one motor. This is the case, right? Which I can substitute for this number. Now that I calculated, and I have how two numbers are related. I have two numbers that are related. Robert here says units sold. So what I have is how many units I sell. Here, I have how many units I sell, multiplied by how many hours I have to produce a unit. Clear, Robert? And I have another problem. Units produced and units sold are always the same. And if it's not always the same, then what is my important problem is how many units I will have here to produce. And then it's going to be another problem, how many of them I will sell. Because not everything that is produced is sold. And I have disparity in two different ways. I can have something that is sold, that is ordered, and I haven't produced it yet. And I can produce something that stays there packaged without being sold. And one contributes to my cost and the other contributes to my revenue. And if I sell things that I do not produce, I will put Jerry to go on and work for things that are sold and not produced. But the main point here is this is an assumption or this is a prediction. And guy that is good in statistics can go on and predict. What if I can be able to sell more of unit A? And if I have units, do I need to have units with decimal points or not? Can I sell?
No, Professor.
Then if I do, I need to be careful how I put that stuff. But the hours can be able to be with a decimal point. Is this clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
Therefore, I do have problem with this formula. Because this formula says how many units I sell and how many hours I need. But if I can produce 180 units here, and if I can produce 300 units here, and these are units produced, I have a disparity. Here, I sold more than what I produce. Does this happen? Yes. I called to get a pizza. He says it's gonna be there, it's ready, come and pick it up. They have it made already. I can go and pick it up. Or he can say, come in half an hour, I need to bake it. What is the problem that I have here? That's to my advantage. I have sold more than I produced. Kadisa needs to move resources to produce this particular product. What problem do I have here? I have a lot of inventories. And I need to slow the production and push the marketing so I can have that done. Is this clear? But as the analysis is moving on the units sold. But I need to be focused on how many units are produced and what is the relationship with the units that are sold. And Kadisa is the manager. She needs to manage that situation. And I can move further. Profit is what? Is based upon units sold. Correct?
Yeah.
But if I want to make the relationship further, I can go on and look at unit profit here. Proof is the problem here the same? In other words, do I need to take cost in my analysis before I find out what is my profit per unit?
Yes.
Good. Kadisa definitely is going to be a manager. What do I have here? Robert explained it before. I have two different cases. Robert market. Intense blue and light blue. In one case, I pay $15 an hour. In the other case, I pay $4 an hour. Clear? Where do you want to produce? With $15 an hour or with $4 an hour?
$4. Professor.
You're too fast to give me an answer. There are other things that I need to have in consideration besides cost. Because if I want with $4 an hour, I'm not going to give you anything. You're going to go on and hire your buddies in Africa or the other guys in Asia or in Latin America. Why do I want to think of you first and pay you $15 an hour? Kadisa says, why don't you get some of the guys that you can pay them $40 an hour? And I have to ask the question to Kadisa, why? And Kadisa would say, these are damn good guys. They can give you more profit from different areas. I want you to know from where. But there are certain cells that I changed the color from what Robert gave me. And Robert has this thing fixed. This thing fixed. I can take it from here and I can take the information from the other. So here I can have the information being taken from the other part. In such a way, I can go on and change one cell and change the other. Kadisa says we should pay $25 here. And Jerry said, in Panama, I can get someone to do the work for $3 per hour. As I change only one cell, I want the other cell to be automatically done and not do it. But that's not my problem. My problem is Kadisa wants to be a manager. If Kadisa wants to be a manager, Kadisa wants to know what is this number and what is this number. And these two numbers more or less are the same as these numbers. And Kadisa wants whoever is going to do the spreadsheet to make it in a way that if she takes that information from here and it is the same and copies it there, it's going to be the same. But she says that it's not. Right, Kadisa? The good thing is that Excel helps you to learn. You go back. What do you have? A different case. What do I want you to do? I want everything to be here, to be exactly the same as it here. And I want to go and see what is this case. This case is taking what is on cell B13. On B13 is the wage, the hourly wage, the B13, multiply by 8 and by 5. The B16, multiply by 8 and by 5. What Robert said before is important. Anything you put it as input needs to be as an input in such a way that he can say, okay, he doesn't want them to work 8 hours a day. He wants them to work 7 hours a day. Doesn't want them to work 5 days a week. He wants them to work 6 days a week. If he has people to work overtime, he needs to give an overtime wage. All that should be in your spreadsheet before you go on and you do your work. And Robert have done it after he sent that to me yesterday afternoon. But I want to know, is this the weekly wage? The answer is yes. Is what? Is the rate multiplied by the days, multiplied by the weeks, and you can be able to move on. I move on. I move on. And I want to be here. Now here I change the color. And I have a question. What is this number? This number is B15 plus B11 divided by B9. I go on and I say it. B15, and I'm reduce it in size so I can be able to see it. And I have it. I click it. And as I click it, it tells me exactly what is happening. B15, wages. B11, profit. And I have a question. Your labor cost and your profit is something that you add them together, and when you add them together, what do you get?
Your revenue?
Don't forget, we were assuming we had no other operational costs. We spoke about that in class yesterday.
I agree.
We made a lot of assumptions.
No other operational costs. So what do we have? B9 is how many units we sell. Therefore, this part here for the manager should be revenue.
That's what I said.
I know, that's what you said. The question is this revenue? The question is this revenue or not?
Can you repeat the question?
Doesn't look.
I don't know, Denise says something else.
No, I didn't. I was agreeing with her.
Okay, I go and I see what it is. Profit is revenue minus cost. Clear?
Yeah.
Therefore, revenue is profit plus cost. Correct?
I don't think so, bro.
I don't know anything. I want you to tell me what you know. You have the brain and you have the business experience. I'm just...
You want to know what's revenue or what's profit? I don't know. I still don't understand which one you're trying to figure out.
Okay, there's some confusion because the way the problem...
Robert.
I'll shut up. Sorry, Professor.
And revenue is the quantity sold multiplied to a price.
Yes.
But he wants to find here is he wants to find out what is the price. So here what he has. The revenue is the quantity sold related to price. Therefore, price is revenue
You divided by
quantity sold.
okay.
And these are the equations that he has. Is this clear? What is the price? Is this the correct calculation that you have? And this is what Robert did. I want you now to think as a manager, did he do the right thing or he did not do the right thing? And if he did the right thing, you have to tell him, good man, here is a promotion, or here is $1 more. If he didn't do the right thing, you have to say, this is not the case, and this is how you will make a change, and you would be able to do it. Is this the correct information?
I think it is, because wages, I think it's the cost. And you have to do revenue. You're trying to find the revenue. So it's the revenue divided by the units sold.
Good.
Yes, I think that should.
And what do you have here? You have the revenue. What is the revenue?
The revenue
is your profit.
Yeah, plus the cost.
Plus your cost. And this is correct. And you go further down. You want to see what is the sale price for the second case. What do you have here? What is this information? And I look at the time. I have almost 12:30. I need to finish. One thing I want you to do is I want you to be able to double check everything that anyone is doing. Use Robert as an example. If Robert is your worker, you need to be able to check his work, improve his work, and have it done so he can be able to go on. What you want to do is he wants to find out for every hour of work how much you yield. And I want you to know the calculations. I'm done with Robert. And I go on and I want to see what is happening with whatever I got from Esther.
Professor.
Yes.
So the cost is just the wage only?
Kadisha, I don't know. I didn't say that. Robert,
No, Kadisha, that was assuming, as we discussed yesterday. Remember, we were talking about labor costs, and that we were just assuming yesterday that there were no other operational costs, like no building, none of that, no mortgage. Got it.
Got it. Thanks.
So,
anytime.
I go back to Esther. Esther is a good student. But for Kadisha, it's not a question if she knows what is the problem, nor that she can solve the problem. She can solve the problem and she can get some results. And this is what Esther gave you. And if you look at this part, you look and you have a staff meeting. And in your staff meeting, one of your people says, hey guys, when we were at school, didn't we have to have the lines to cross each other? Or not? Do we have to have the lines to cross each other? Jerry said, guys, if the lines don't cross, you have a problem.
Yeah.
And I say, come on, Jerry, the lines are crossing here and the lines are crossing here. And after all, who are you to talk? You are the last to join the class and not the best student. And Jerry says, yeah, but I'm the best businessman. And I have a problem here. And I want all of these three lines to cross not in the extreme points when they touch the axis, but in different cases. And I'm just an observer, and I want to know what is going on. And it's the last day of the week. It's Thursday. Why Thursday is the last day of the week, Quaco? Tomorrow it's Friday. It's a holiday.
Yep.
The day after it's Saturday. It's a holiday. The day after is Sunday. It's a holiday. And I do what I did in my hometown, that we had Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Everybody respected everybody else. We're taking a 3-day weekend. We were working hard the rest of the days. I'll see you Monday. What do I want to do by Monday? By Monday, I want to have an answer from all of you. And what do I want to know? I want to know mainly two things. I go back to the first thing. This is what you know. This is what you know. Do you know anything more? Do you know anything more by knowing these numbers? And if you know anything more by knowing these numbers, I want you to be able to present it in a very nice way using a PowerPoint that it's going to take my breath. If I do anything else, I'll stop doing it, and I want to watch what you want to say. And I want to know as much as possible in the wavelength that Robert gave me, but I don't want to go on and look at an Excel sheet. I trust Robert that he can do the right thing in the Excel sheet, but I don't want to see it in an Excel sheet. I want to see it in a way that it's going to be an interesting way to present it. You want to do it in a PowerPoint? Do it in a PowerPoint. Do you want to do it in how it's the other way to make a presentation? Prezi. Do it Prezi. Do you want to find out any other new ways that I don't know? As long as I will pay attention and you will attract my attention. As long as I'm going to be doing something else in multitasking, and I will stop what do I do so I can see what you tell me, because what you tell me is interesting. And that's the first task. If you go to my lecture yesterday, you find the answers. And we did it yesterday. And I don't care how you calculate it with Excel, with Mathematica, with both, with your hands, with your calculators, that's fine. I know, Robert, that that's in my email. Then I want to go on to Jerry. And I want to see what is happening here. And Jerry says, we have to have things done. And what I can do here is I can change either the numbers to the right side of the inequality, or I can change the numbers of the left side of the inequality. And I see the numbers here. And my question is, how do I change these numbers? And which numbers are easier for me to change? Easier for me to change is the 3 and 2. And what is the 3 and 2? And how I will change it. Or easier for me to change is the 8, 5, and 7. And Robert says the easiest thing to change is how many people you will put in. And if you put more people here, you will have a different graph. And as you can have a different graph, you know what is happening with what you have in the first case, wiring. Blue is wiring. Robert is hiring more people for wiring. And Quaco says, you see, now the two lines cross. Am I better off or worse off?
You're better off.
And if we move on and we have more people, what is happening? Are you better off or worse off?
Better off.
Better
And
off.
You put here and you put another person. Are you better off or worse off? In drilling, you need more people or you need less people? In drilling, here, you need more people or you need less people?
Less
In
people?
wiring, you need more people or less people? In assembly, you need more people or less people?
Less.
And you have something here that is quite interesting. And as you do the most easy thing, having more or having less people, Quaco comes back and says, hey guys, do you see these lines now? All of them have an intersection. Intersect. What is happening? Give me a minute. Something is flying and needs to stay here. And from that point, Guy would say, you have only 1 minute, professor. Let's see the common area. And if I want to see the common area, instead of commas, I have this case, and this is my common area. And Esther says, hold on a minute, I want to go back. I want to go back and see things together. See things as line, see things as line, and see things as a common area. I see things as a common area, and I see things as a line. I see them together. And my lines and my common areas, now they start making sense. And if these are making sense, then I want to go on and solve the problem. But I want to solve the problem and find out what do I produce and how much money I produce. And I'll go back. I'll see what do I have. I have 12 people in wiring. I have 7 people in drilling and 5 people in assembly line. I'll go here and I'll make 12 people here in wiring. We go up. How many 7 and 5. 7 and 5. I go on and I solve the problem. And as I solve the problem, I want to see what is my solution. And my solution is the same. I produce only model B, 122 models. Nothing of model A. Do I make the same money as I made before or not? Do I make the same money as I made before or not?
No, Professor.
Do I make more or do I make less?
More now.
Therefore, I want to start saying, what do I need to be able to do more? And I go to my last question of the day. And Esther wants to tell me, what is this 315 that we have here? And whenever you give me a number, I want a justification, how this number comes into your case.
I just do, Professor. I just calculate the labor cost, taking the total hours, the restrictions that for the numbers that I had before, for multiplying the 9 people, for example, from writing, 9 people for 5 days, 7 hours. And I multiply it for 15, that I choose my rate 15 per hour.
Good. And may be right, may be wrong, but I want to know how the numbers are coming up. So what do I want you by Monday? My Monday, I want mainly 2 things. One thing is, if I have this problem, do I know anything else more than what it is here? And what is it? And I want you to be done in 2 different ways. I want you to make a nice presentation. And I want you to back up your presentation with Excel, Mathematica, any other calculations that you show me this information, because this is numbers. I have numbers, and using numbers, I get more numbers. And how many more numbers, how much more information I will get. And if I have all that information, I put it in the computer, I can be able to say, this is what is happening. What is happening here? Do I have 122 model B? 122 model B, and nothing of model A, or not? Is this graph telling me that for model B I have 122, I'm gonna be at that particular point. But if I'm at this particular point, I should make that many of model A. I should be making that many of model A. Why don't I see it here? This is not your business, this is Mathematica's business. Or this is my business. Can I cheat you in business? Or not? And how I would go on and do it. I want you to,
Professor?
yeah?
I'm sorry, excuse me. You want a presentation showing what? What exactly are we looking for?
From this information, how
Got
much
it. I got that. Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
first.
Got it.
The second part is from the graph we had before.
Okay.
What can we do more? And we play with.
You mean like increasing the area of feasibility and or efficiencies, or?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct. In
All
other
right.
words, the day that I was talking before, I said this is not 3, but it goes much higher productivity, doubles. It becomes 1.5 hours. You get this case here. Is this a reasonable assumption or not? And the reality is not. You can change certain things within a given range. And I want you to make assumption of the range that you can be able to change so you can be able to have things done. What can you do? Can you have a presentation that I will go on and show it to someone that doesn't know anything about mathematics and understand what you're talking about? And you enjoy the weekend, you have another Father's Day, you have another day of the first day of the summer, and from next week we can start counting the days to become smaller. Enjoy